Hi, I'm Prentiss Cox, Associate Professor of Law at the University of Minnesota Law School. I'm co-author of Law and Practice with Laura Thomas.
Hi, my name is Laura Thomas. I'm an Associate Professor of Clinical Instruction at the University of Minnesota Law School, and I am co-author of a book called Law and Practice.
The purpose of this course is to integrate practice education, fundamental practice education skills, into the early part of the curriculum, first year or early second year. We try to present this in a comprehensive and integrated way, which means we're not using the traditional divisions that occur within legal education, skills versus theory, legal doctrine versus clinics. Instead, we're presenting practice education as an integrated whole, where law and skills occur as they do in practice in an integrated manner.
Law and Practice has been a great supplement for my first year of law school. The courses that I took, the substantive law courses, taught me the ingredients that I'd be using as a lawyer. I was able to use those ingredients in depositions, settlement negotiations, which led me to think more about what I was learning in the substantive courses also. So the comprehensive understanding of the substantive law that I got through Law and Practice has provided me with a very sound basis for studying my more specific 2L law courses.
Our course materials are more liked by students, I think, for two reasons. The first is that the clients that the students are introduced to are sophisticated and successful individuals. That was an intentional design. The students like having a powerful client or a client who owns their own business or has a large objective like securing a golf pro position. The second thing we do is we have designed a simulation so students play primary attorney a number of times during the course. And they like acting like lawyers. It excites them, it engages them, and it makes the course sing.
Law and Practice was very different from our standard courses in ways that I really enjoyed. We were able to actually walk through the different stages of a lawsuit, as opposed to in your normal courses where you just get to the end, where everything's gone wrong. We were able to learn how to fix problems before they occur, how to strategize before a case gets into litigation or gets into trial. And I really enjoyed learning about the stages of trial and really being a part of the strategic trial team throughout the semester.
Law professors don't have time. It's just literally not possible to take a class of 20, 40, or 50 students and perform small group skills. So what we do is we have the classroom focus on something that can be done efficiently and effectively by a traditional legal doctrine professor. And then we allow the skills to be built with closer, intimate groups of practicing attorneys working with the students. We try to use the classroom component to play to the strengths of classroom teachers and to make it look like the kind of class students are used to hearing. And that's because it's important to have legal doctrine and legal analysis underlying the simulation. And for students to understand that's the value that lawyers bring to their clients, understanding and application of the law. In the simulations, we work with small groups, with practicing attorneys, to help them refine and perform the exact skills they're going to be doing as practicing attorneys. An example would be in the client interview. You have to know the elements of the claim, and you have to understand strategically where you are in the lawsuit in order to ask the right questions to acquire the information. In the simulation, you have to be able to actively listen and relate to the client to effectively obtain the information from the client. So the classroom component and the simulation component are integrated, but they focus on different things.
After Law and Practice, first of all, I have a better idea of which area of law I want to go into. So even when I was interviewing for summer positions, I could draw on my practice in Law and Practice and say what aspects of litigation I really enjoyed or what aspects of transactional work I really enjoyed. And going into practice, I have a better idea of what the entire litigation process looks like. How to conduct a mediation, how to prepare for a mediation, what does a deposition look like? It just gives me a much clearer idea of what those processes are, as opposed to just reading about them or hearing about them from afar in a textbook.
Something we do differently than I think almost any other skills or legal doctrine class is that we introduce the skills in the context of the law in a spiral. We sequence the introduction of the skills. So at the beginning, students learn some basic information about each of these skills, and we focus on just a few key characteristics of what makes an effective practicing lawyer. And then as we move through the simulation, we repeat some of those skills and we introduce more complexity. One thing that happens is if you try to tell the students everything you know about interviewing a witness or taking a deposition, it's just going to go over their heads. So what we try to do is focus on some of the key aspects, bring those out, and as the simulations progress, we introduce new ingredients to that. And hopefully the students will learn from the base of knowledge they acquire in the beginning exercises.
I'm a clinical supervisor at the University of Minnesota Law School, and I have had the opportunity to have students in clinic in their second and third years come to me and tell me how much they have benefited from the law and practice course in their live client interviews when they're meeting their client for the first time.
I've had a lot of good fortune in being a lawyer. I've been able to handle cases that have settled for hundreds of millions of dollars. I've also been able to represent individuals in disputes for as little as a couple of $1,000s. And I've enjoyed all of that. One of the things that strikes me about legal education, that I remember from being a law student and I see again in law schools, is the notion that there's a certain way to be a lawyer. You're not a real lawyer unless you go into court every day. You're not a real lawyer unless you deal with clients that have lots of money, and none of those things are true. There's lots of different ways to be a lawyer. There are core skills to learn to be a lawyer, but I'm very committed to teaching people that there's a variety of ways to practice law, and you can find a satisfying career that matches who you are and what's important to you.